So we will start with the question and answer section based on the previous session, which was a model, especially the import model. So in a data model, what can you use to further describe the dimension? So this is a property. So you remember using a property, you can describe further information about a dimension. In our case, we were discussed about the GL account. So similarly, for any dimension, we can have additional properties or additional description maintained in the property section. So this is the correct answer. In a planning data model, what dimensions are included by default? So when we created the import model, by default it was a planning model, and you have already seen that the version and the date was automatically added. So these two are the default dimensions that will get added when you create a planning model. Moving to next question, what must a data model contain in SAP Analytics Cloud? So data model contains a measure and a dimension. So these two are a must. It can have calculation. It can't. It cannot have calculation. It can have case. It cannot have. But measures and dimensions are must. At least one. Then only you will be able to create the and save the model. So these two are the correct answers. Next question is, you have a story based on import model. The transaction data in the model's data source changes. How can you update the data in the model? There are two correct answers. Like you can schedule an import. So you can schedule an import, and based on the frequency, the data will get updated based on the update setting. So this is one of the answer. Or you can also refresh the import job. So if there is import job already configured, you can just simply refresh it manually and it will update the data. So these two options are correct options. Next question. Your user need to analyze data in a story. What kind of data model you create? So we can create a planning data model. We can create an analytic data model. There is nothing called embedded data model or standalone. These are the types of data sets. So the question is clearly what kind of data models you can create. So we can create a planning data model. So on planning data model also we can analyze the data, and using the analytic data model also we can analyze the data. So these two are the correct options. You are using a model that includes a prompt. When is the prompt present at the runtime? So you remember we created a variable while creating our import model. So the question is when that prompt will come. So usually that prompt comes before the data is displayed, because the meaning of the prompt, it's not only about this import model. When you run any query in any of the tool, and if it has a filter, it pops up a filter or a prompt that what selection you want to execute if there is a prompt available. So once you give the selection, click OK or execute, then only the data is displayed, not before that. So the correct option will be before data can be displayed. So once you provide the input, then only the data will get displayed. Question number 7. What does the model setting optimize story building performance do in a story? So it prevents the automatic refresh of data during story design. So as you remember in the model preferences, there is an option to check this option, optimize story building performance. So uh, if you have a data connected to a live connection, for an example, and data keeps on trying to refresh it every now and then, even for the import connection it try to refresh it, although there is no new data, but at the story level it keeps on refreshing. So which may disturb you while creating a story. So when you are in a designer mode, you are doing a story, you can turn it this option on, so that automatic refresh will be stopped, and only based on the request the data will get refreshed. So the correct option is this one. It will prevent the automatic refresh during data story design. So these were the 7 questions from the previous section. It's time to move to the live model creation. Hello everyone. So in this session we are going to discuss about live models, how we can create a live model, and what are the features within live model. So compared to the acquired model, as we have already discussed, it will have less features, kind of transformations and all. It doesn't provide that level of calculation as compared to acquired model, because in this case you need to do most of the transformation in the back end, and only basic calculation you can do at the front end at the story level. So we'll quickly try to create one live model. So for that, you need to go into modeler and then click on the live data model. Here you need to select the connection. So there are certain connections for the live model. It can be SAP Datasphere, it can be BW system, it can be SAP HANA system, it can be BPC, and couple of more systems are there. So when we will discuss about the connection, we will see what all live connections are available. So in this case, we will go with SAP BW, and then we will select the system. So once you select the system, you will get the list of sources that is available in that system. Using this help option, you can go and search for all the list of data sources available in this live connection, or you can also type three characters. You see, at least you can type three characters. Sorry, IMO. So you see, these are some standard reports available for asset accounting. So we can use it for the training purpose. I can use any of these. These are the standard content from BW side. So I can use depreciation posting, for example, and click OK. So once you click OK, it will open the modular panel, and here you will be able to see two tabs, one for the dimensions, one for the measures. So here you see, you don't see any calculation or anything which you were able to see during the creation of acquired data model or import model. So you can only select the scaling for the measures, and there is nothing else applicable. And then even if you go to the dimensions, you see there is no other options, like if you want to um, create any transformation, replace any character, those kind of stuff you can't do over here. You need to do in the backend query. Only thing you can do here is to group. So for example, if you want to group certain columns together, for example, you want this, and you name the group as overall, and you want the profit center, sorry, and this order number, all within same group, you can name it. So here you see the grouping is created, and this grouping you can use in your story. So this is the only feature that is available, to group certain columns together. Apart from that, there is not much you can do with this data source. So if there is any hierarchy associated, it will appear over here. If it is not, then it is how you can see in the dimension section. Then you have a version information. If there is any version information coming from the backend, then you can just simply select, and in our case we don't have any version, but if you have any version, you can use it. Map the category, it's a planning related data. So mostly planning related data, we use a import connection instead of this, but in case of a BPC, you may use this feature. And then before saving, you also have preferences. So in this preferences, you don't have uh, much options. So in the general model setting, you have the description. So you can give the description of your model, like test live model, kind of. Okay, so you can give the description. Then the language setting is there. You can have a respective language. By default, it is English US based on your system configuration. Then you can also restrict the data export. So when you restrict it, people will not be able to extract the data from here. So that is one option. And then there are data and performances. This is similar, like when you switch on this performance optimization option, the it will stop automatically updating. That happens when you changes are made. And so when you are developing any story, every time when you do the changes in the story and backend data is changing, because this is the real time data from the backend, it keeps on loading, which sometimes um, which sometimes doesn't look good when you are doing couple of changes in a sequence, and every time it keeps on loading. So you can turn it on so that it will not refresh, and it will refresh only on the based on the request. Then reduce BW query metadata. So you can switch on this option to optimize performance by consuming a reduced set of metadata. This limits the number of attributes to the ones that are explicitly defined on query level. So what will happen, many of the times you have a master data which has around 30 40 attributes, but for reporting, for your current report, you only need 10 attributes out of those 30 40. So those 10 attributes, you define it explicitly in your query in the backend. But because of the nature, it also allows you to bring other attributes in the view mode. But you don't want users to see those options, and also because it's a lot of metadata, it can impact the performance as well. So you can turn it on so that it will not bring unnecessary metadata from the master data for backend system. So these are the preference option that you have. I will cancel it. And then apart from this, you have a variable option. So here we don't have any variable. And then in case you have a variable, so variable is nothing but if your story has a variable, then your backend query has a variable, it will come over here what are the variables. So in this case, it doesn't have any variable. Now change data source is useful when, for example, you are moving from development to quality. So you move the data from, model from development to quality. So you need to change the pointer. So you need to go to the change data source, and within this, instead of development system, you need to select the quality. Or if you are moving from importing the objects from quality to production, you need to change the connection from quality to production and select the same query. Make sure that the query is consistent between production and quality, then only it will work, otherwise it will throw an error. That means before moving the SSC changes, you need to ensure that backend changes, if there is any backend changes with the query, that is first imported. Okay, so this is about the settings that we have. So this is the only thing that we have with the live model. Then what you can do, you can save the live model. You can give the name as asset live model, just an example, and save it. So the model is saved. So this was very simple, that we have created a live model. uh, so when we will discuss the stories, actually I don't want to go and create a story from here, because I first need to cover all the things that are available in model. And then when we will be covering story, we will be using import models and show you what features are coming in the story level when using an import model. When using a live model, what features are coming, what are not coming. So those things we can discuss that time. So this was it related to the live model. Hope you like the content. So now we will move to the question and answer section related to the live model. So today's first question is, what can you use to organize dimensions into logical categories in live model? These are your options. Next question is, you are using a live connection for a model. What can you define? Where can you define a data security? You are using a live connection for a model. Where is the data stored? You have a live data model with two dimensions, first name and last name. User want a single dimension in the data model that displays the dimension as last name, first name. What must you do? So basically you need to concatenate the first name and the last name to create the last name, first name together as a single dimension. So which of these four options you can choose? And the last question is, which calculation type does SAP BW live model support? So there are two correct answers within these four options. So these are the questions from today's session. Hope you like the content. If yes, do subscribe to the channel. Press the bell icon to receive the notification related to the latest uploads. We'll come up with the next session soon. Till then, stay tuned. Have a nice day. Bye bye.